Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. I am so excited for today's video because I decided to make a video based on tropes, themes and microtropes. So basically I asked my followers over on Bookstagram to send in the tropes or the microtropes that they really wanted book recommendations for, and then I squirreled my way through my TBR, my spreadsheets and my Goodreads read list to find books that match those themes, tropes and microtropes. You know what? As someone who has read consistently since they were a kid and averages about 100 books a year at least, this was harder than I thought, and it was so fun. I love a challenge personally. I would absolutely love to do a part 2 to this video because I had so much fun finding the books that match those recommendations. So if you would like to see that, drop a comment below with what trope, microtrope or theme you would like recommendations for. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I make new videos every single Monday, but let's get into the first trope. The most requested trope was actually one of my personal favourites as well, so I was super happy about this, and it was hair washing. We all love it in a book when the MMC looks after the female main character after she's had like a hard battle or she's travelled, and hair washing is just so intimate, I think, and it's in a really caring way, not necessarily spicy. So I've got some book recommendations for that, and then I have 3 that are just generally kind of a bath trope, not necessarily hair washing. But the first one is My Baby Fall With Me. This is the first book that I of course think of when I hear about hair washing, because there is a whole storyline based on hair in general in this book, because our main character is black and the love interest is white, and so he really tries to understand how to do her hair, how to help her with that. And there's a scene where she is not feeling well because it is her time of month, and he decides to help her with her hair so that she can go to sleep and not have to do anything, and it's really cute and romantic, and I love this book. But in general, the whole storyline on hair is so well done, and I think it's really great representation and just something a little bit different to have in a romance book. So 10 out of 10 recommend Fall With Me for lovers of the hair washing trope. Then we've got Phantasma. Phantasma is such a Marmite book, it seems. I feel like I'm pretty not harsh, but hard to please with romantasy, and I loved this. Gave it 4.5 stars. To me, it is just spicy adult caraval, and it's quick, easy, fun, spicy, adventurous, a little bit of grit and darkness in there. Kind of feels like the Saw movie trials as well. But because it is such a fast moving book and such a spicy book, we get a lot of scenes between the love interest and the female main character, and one of those gets very, very smutty in, let's just say, a very interestingly dirty situation. And I mean physically dirty, not like spice dirty. And so that results in her having a bath, and he takes over to care for her. And I really, really liked that scene, and yeah, it's just perfect if that's what you're looking for. The next one is Ruthless Vows, which is book 2, sequel to Divine Rivals. Divine Rivals is a YA sort of like historical romance mixed with fantasy. The fantasy plot is a smaller element, I would say, but it's amazing. I absolutely loved that book. And in the second book, there is a scene where the love interest washes the other one's hair. And in general, these books are pretty romantic, I would say, and the romance between the 2 characters is rooted in like tenderness and care because of the trauma and the war situations that they are put into. Those moments together are like their only moments of peace. So 10 out of 10 recommend this one. It's such a lovely series. Now, I don't know if I'm right with this one, but on my spreadsheet I had put that Lost and Lassoed has a hair washing scene. I cannot remember that for the life of me. Maybe it's more of a general bath scene. I don't know. I seem to have erased this whole plot from my brain, even though I absolutely loved this book. So can someone confirm in the comments below if this does or does not have that scene in? I mean, I don't know why I would have written it down if it doesn't, but I really don't remember it. Either way, even if it does or doesn't have it, you should still read this book because Teddy and Gus are one of the greatest couples ever. I love this book so much. Next, we have a book that I have not actually read. This is Beautiful Exile by Catherine Cowles, but hear me out. I have read book 1, which is, I think it's Fragile Sanctuary or something like that, and I really enjoyed it. These are different to what I expected from the covers. I thought these were just like cutesy small town romances like the Rebel Blue Ranch series, but they're actually romantic suspense as well. So you kind of have this like very small mystery thriller element against romance, and also a really great found family trope. And I really loved that, and I have it on good authority that in this one there is a hair washing scene. So I would definitely recommend these, even though I haven't got to this book yet. I did really enjoy book 1, and I'm definitely going to continue with the series. Another one that I haven't actually read but own and have it on good authority that there is a hair washing scene in is Training the Heart. This is book 2 in a cowboy romance series by Paisley Hope. They're interconnected standalones about different couples, but as well as the hair washing scene, this one also is grumpy sunshine, forced proximity with a very bossy MMC, and it says pulse racing, spicy scenes. So I feel like if you want in a very quick, fun, easy cowboy romance with spice, this would be the perfect one, and it has the hair washing scene. Now let's talk about the 3 that are more generally bath scenes. The first one is Amid Clouds and Bones. Let me tell you, there is a couple of different scenes where she is in the bath and it's in the male love interests like bedroom quarters, and because they are in an enemies to lovers arranged marriage, but they're also like politically working together at some points, he just kind of makes his presence known while she's in the bath, and I really enjoyed that scene. In fact, this whole book is jam-packed full of tension and spice. Again, it's a standalone and it's a romantasy, so it's like very, very fast-paced, enemies to lovers, like true enemies to lovers, full of tension. It's kind of like Cruel Prince for adults, so if you ever just want a quick, easy, fun one, I definitely recommend this. House of Bane and Blood also has a bath scene between the love interests, and let me just tell you, this one is perfect. It is very, very tense, a little bit spicy, and Nico is such a good MMC because he is based on like Peaky Blinders and Tommy Shelby. So if you like those vibes, you have to read this book and you will get the bath scene that you are hoping for. And finally, for baths and hair washing, we have The North Wind. This is a standalone romantasy in an interconnected series, and it is based on Beauty and the Beast and Persephone and Hades. Because it is based on those 2 retellings, it definitely has a vibe that is very familiar, so you aren't going to get the most unique romantasy, but what you will get is a very complex female main character who has dealt with alcoholism, and you will get a very slow burn, tense love that develops, and one of those scenes cultivates in a bath scene, and it's very spicy, and it was actually what first like triggered my love for this microtrope. So is this one going to be like a 5-star romantasy? Probably not, but I still enjoyed it enough to recommend. Okay, the next request was Well Done, Miscommunication. I do feel like I have some good recommendations for this, though there aren't that many books that I personally feel do miscommunication purposely in a really well done way. However, there is one book that is literally miscommunication through and through, start to finish. That's what the book is, that's its core theme, and that is Normal People. I am biased because this is my favourite book in the world. I have 5 different versions of this book, but I absolutely love this. And in general, all of Sally Rooney's books have some element of miscommunication, but this is the one that leans most into romance, whereas the others are kind of more contemporary and literary fiction with more societal commentary. So this is the one that I would say is like miscommunication romance based, and it basically deals with Connell and Marianne, who are from completely different worlds but go to school together, and they find themselves in a secret relationship, and then throughout their lives as they get older they keep dating and coming back together, and then breaking up and coming back together, and it's just so realistic and so beautifully written. I mean, like, there's so many perfect all-time favourite quotes from this book. Honestly, I could wax lyrical about this all day. I've got so many videos on it on my TikTok if you do want more, but this is the definition of miscommunication. Another book series that is all about miscommunication is Magnolia Parks. More so the Magnolia books than the Daisy books, but still very hard on the miscommunication. Essentially, this book follows BJ and Magnolia, who have always dated as teens. They've always known each other, their families are intertwined. But recently, BJ has done something so atrocious and so hurtful and such a betrayal that Magnolia is left reeling and no longer with him, even though she absolutely loves him to the ends of the earth. And it's about them trying to come back together and reconcile what BJ has done. Now, this book gets a lot of flack for romanticising and kind of glorifying toxic relationships, but that's just what the author wants you to think in book one. Book one is BJ lying, trying to cover up what he's done, not really owning up to his actions, and not being willing to say why he's done what he's done. Things start to unravel in the later books, and it's all about redemption and understanding trauma bonds and not being able to communicate to say like why you've done the things that you have. And I actually think these books are really, really special and really, really important, and they have a lot of themes in them and a lot of traumas that people go through every day in day-to-day life. So I personally love this for its miscommunication, but you have to have patience and know that you're going to hate the characters at first. Place by Emily Henry. This is Miscommunication. I personally always recommend this and say that it's similar to Normal People, funnily enough. This is contemporary romance where Normal People is not, but they are very similar in their themes and the way that the love interests interact with each other. But this also has really great found family and reminds me of the TV show Friends. This literally made me sob more than I've ever sobbed at another romance book, including Beach Read, which literally had a grief storyline. So that will tell you how much I loved this. Another book with well done miscommunication is Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. I don't have a physical copy of this yet, but it was a 5-star read for me. And actually, I think that Abby's books, or the ones that I've read so far anyway, all have really well done miscommunication in the third act breakup, which is usually something that I personally don't like. But the way that Abby does it feels very realistic and true to people's kinds of reactions and reservations and fears in relationships in real life. But in particular, Yours Truly deals with a really big anxiety storyline, and that anxiety is of course the reason for miscommunication at a lot of times, because of the fear of, you know, saying the wrong thing or just being rejected, like whatever those anxieties may be, they result in a lot of miscommunication between the two main characters. And yeah, I love this book so much. Again, I have spoken about this in other videos, which I'll link above, where there's proper in-depth reviews, but such a good one. And then this is probably like less of a common recommendation for this trope, but I actually think A River Enchanted does have some miscommunication, and I do think it's well done. There are 4 main characters in this book, 4 POVs: Sidra, Torrin, Jack and Adara, and I think it's Sidra and Torrin's relationship that deals with the miscommunication. Torrin is very much like a masculine protector type, and Sidra is the embodiment of a healer, and she's also a stepmother to his child. And when this kind of mystery is unraveling on the island that they live on, they start to kind of see the cracks in their relationships that have been there in the past that they've not dealt with. And Torrin's way of dealing things is kind of avoiding the situation, and that's where the miscommunication comes in. But aside from that, it is a cozy fantasy with a mystery. Like I said, multi-POV, very, very atmospheric, Celtic lore, absolutely brilliant on audio too, so really recommend this series. Okay, the next one that was requested was Cooking for Each Other, and this was so hard. I realised that I have not read many books where they do this, or not that I could think of. I do feel like there is one that is kind of cooking for each other. That's Daisy Hates, but she kind of does it for a group rather than the love interest specifically. Then I have 2 that are specifically like love interest cooking for the other. The first one is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I'm 99.9% there is a cooking scene in this where the love interest Levi cooks for B, and I'm pretty sure that occurs because that's how we find out that he's vegan, and it happens in a forced proximity situation where she must go to his house. I'm pretty sure it's in there, and I remember liking it and it was cute. So that's one. And the only other one that I can think of is When the Moon Hatched. There is definitely a scene in this where the love interest cooks for the female main character. The only thing is, it is early in the story and there is not much love between them at this point. It is very much like she is not impressed by him doing this. She's actually tied and bound, I think, while he's cooking for her as well. I think he feeds her. But it does have a lot of tension and a little bit of banter in there too. So I still recommend that. But so far, those are the only ones I can think of. If you have any, drop some in the comments below so that we can find more cooking for each other books. Next request is Caretaking, and this is another one that I personally love. So I already had these saved because it's like a trope that I track for myself. The first one is Nightshade. Again, I have talked about this so much recently because it was a recent 5-star romance for me. I will link my God tier romance books video above so that you can watch it if you want to have a full review on it. This is a dark academia, new adult romantic suspense, and it is very unique but also weirdly nostalgic at the same time. And our love interest, Alex, is the blueprint for when it comes to being nurturing and taking care of his partner, his girlfriend, the main character, the love interest, because he is also the older brother of 6 sisters and he is their like primary caretaker. So he already has that trait and that quality embedded in him from his own life. And the way he looks after the main character is so sweet. I love him. He's literally become my new favourite book boyfriend. Honestly, you have to read that book if you haven't already. Then we're going back to Abby Jimenez, Just for the Summer. There is a big sickness storyline in this, and the love interest again takes such good care of her, even though he could risk catching it himself. And it's just so well done, and it's particularly well done because our main character comes from a background of neglect and abuse, and so she's never really had many people that would do that for her, and it's just so beautiful. I love that book. It was a 5-star for me. I think that is also in my God tier romance books videos, maybe. Then we have In the Weeds, which is book 2 in the Love Light Farm series. Again, enjoyed this book a lot. It's not one of my all-time favourite romances, but I did still enjoy it. There is a scene in this where the main character kind of ends up injured per se in a way, and so there is some caretaking after that, and it's very, very cute. In general, I really love this series because the small town atmosphere is so cozy and the fan family is really great too. So if you do like things like Chestnut Springs or Rebel Blue Ranch, then this is a series for you. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, one of my favourite romances ever. This was a 5-star for me. I also love Mariana's other book, All Roads Lead Here. I personally love her romance books because they are so slow burn, but this one also has that caretaking trope. I can't remember exactly what the caretaking trope is. If I remember correctly, it's the female main character caring for the love interest. It could be the other way around as well, but I can't remember because these books by Mariana are often quite chunky, and it's been about a year since I read it, but it's definitely in there in some aspect, and it's a really great romance. Next request is Second Chance Romance, one of my personal all-time favourite tropes. I personally feel Second Chance Romance is so underrated. I love how realistic it is and how relatable it is. At some point in life, we have all wanted to either give someone a second chance or be given a second chance romantically. I don't believe you if you say that's not true. I already mentioned that this is Second Chance Romance, but I'll mention it again because it is such a good book. It's one of my God tier 6-star reads. I love this book so much, and it is my favourite Emily Henry Second Chance Romance, like I say, between a couple that have basically just like lost their way with each other, and he's not done anything bad, she's not really done anything bad, but just, you know, life situations have changed and that's led to a lot of miscommunication between them. Friendships have all kind of changed as well. It's just very relatable for that like late 20s, early 30s stage of life. So this is a top tier second chance romance. 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Literally one of the best second chance romance books, or just one of the best romance books that I've ever read. Tia Williams is perfect for fans of Emily Henry. She has that style that kind of doesn't feel cringe, includes a lot of realistic women's fiction style storylines as well as the romance, and a little bit of humour to make it not too traumatic and sad. It's about a single mother and a man who are both authors, and they bump into each other at a convention, and you realise that they have dated before. Specifically, when they were teenagers, they spent a week in a period of June together, just them two, and so you get split timeline as you see like how they came together, what happened in that week, why they now don't like each other, and won't they get back together. Brilliant book, a little bit sad, a little bit funny, just beautiful. Now we're going to go back to the Rebel Blue Ranch series. 2 books in this series are in fact second chance romance. So if you haven't read it, there's 4 books and 2 of them are that trope, so you're going to love it. Lost and Lassoed is book 3 in the series, and this has a second chance in a much smaller way, but it's still in there. Essentially, it is the best friend of a main character in book 1 and her older brother, and they have dated when they were younger in some capacity. You don't fully know how or why. It did not go well. They've been enemies ever since, and this book is them like obviously getting it on eventually again. So it does have a second chance in there in some way. But then the final book in the series, Wild and Wrangled, is fully second chance. You know all the way through the 3 previous books that this pair have dated before, and that they must have had some sort of really deep love for each other, because now they can't even talk to each other. And it is really, really beautiful. Again, like 7 Days in June, this is split timeline, and we have these like love letters as well, which is one of my favourite tropes personally, to have like love letters or emails, you know, that kind of a thing between the 2 characters. Because it also goes back to them being teenagers, it does also have a lot of nostalgia for like the early 2000s and 90s, and I personally also really love that. Then we're going to go to my girl, Adrienne Young. All 3 of her most recent releases have second chance romance in them in some aspect. Now, these are not romance books. They are usually something else first with a romance subplot, but for me the romance is enough to include it in this video. So you have Spells for Forgetting, which is magical realism fantasy with a mystery and crime element and a second chance romance. This book kind of feels like it's split into thirds for me. The first third has a practical magic vibe because the island is very witchy and our main character has like a very witchy shop. And then the second part of the book feels a bit like Gillian Flynn. It kind of goes into this like mystery thriller crime, like the Sinner TV show, as well as the town tries to unravel this murder that's happened. And then the final third of the book feels like A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid to me. So it's very unusual. It won't be for everyone. I personally love it. I think it has beautiful writing. It has a foresty, small town atmosphere, a very tender second chance romance that feels very angsty, and yeah, I just personally love this. It's a 6-star for me. Then you have A Sea of Unspoken Things, which is super short. It's like 300 pages or just under that, I think, and this is a mystery thriller with the tiniest magical realism edge and a second chance romance. And this is about twins who live in different parts of the country, but the main character that we see from her POV realizes her brother has died, her twin brother, and she wants to go and solve his death. So she goes back to this logging small town that she's from, and she's forced back into seeing people that she has not seen since she left when she was a teenager, one of those being her ex. Really beautiful book, really quick read. You can literally get through this in one sitting. And then her book, The Unmaking of June Farrow. I kind of feel like this is like a mix between The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Time Traveler's Wife, and A Love Song for Ricky Wilde by Tia Williams. It's like sci-fi, fantasy, second chance romance, essentially. And then also make it like small farming town in North Carolina, I think is where it's set. Really beautiful book. You definitely need to use your brain a little bit for this one, but it does have a second chance romance, and you just don't ever know how this book is going to end. Then we have A Request for Fake Dating, and I cannot talk about fake dating without including The Deal. This is the first fake dating romance book that I ever read, and it is the OG and it is the best. It's also the first ice hockey romance that I read. It's just incredible. That's why Off Campus is getting a TV show. It's so good. If you like fake dating, and if you've not read this one, then what are you doing, honestly, because it is the blueprint, and Garrett Graham is the blueprint. But then we also have the spin-off series Briar You, and there is a fake dating book in this one, which is The Risk, and this is Brenna and Jake's story, and they are my personal favourite couple. I love this book so much. Honestly, it's so hard to pick between this, The Graham Effect, and The Deal, but those are my top 3 like ice hockey romance books by Elle Kennedy. And yep, this one has fake dating. It's also like enemies to lovers and forbidden romance, so it's just like the perfect trifecta of tropes. The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, she's back. This is also kind of fake dating in a way. It's marriage of convenience, but they don't get married right away, so there is fake dating, and it's done really, really well. It is because Aidan, our main male character, needs a green card so that he can stay and play professional football. So it's a really great one, especially when you pair it with Mariana's signature slow burn. Yours truly, again, I've already mentioned this, so I will not go into it too in-depthly, but this is also fake dating between the main character and the love interest, and it is perfect. Like, it just, everything about that book is perfect. Love Light Farms series, I've already mentioned it, but book 1, actually Love Light Farms, is fake dating, and this is one of the best fake dating books that I have read. It's set at Christmas as well, so it's really cozy, but you could definitely read this all year round. It is between 2 like old friends, best friends as well, so it also has friends to lovers. I normally don't like that trope, but it is done so well here, and the spice in this is really, really good. This is just such a fun, cozy, fast-paced romance. And then last but by no means least, Dungeons and Dramas. This is a YA romance that I just read, and it is so cute and so fluffy. It's very much like Ali Hazelwood, so if you like her books, you're gonna love it. It's got grumpy sunshine, fake dating of course, and really great found family. To me, this book feels like a younger version of The Big Bang Theory. So if you like The Big Bang Theory, you're going to really like the friendship dynamic that's in this book, and obviously the fake dating trope. So there you have it. I've tried to squeeze in as many recs as I could for those tropes. It's way more difficult than I thought it would be, like I said earlier, but so much fun. Again, don't forget to let me know if you would like a part 2 to this video, and drop the tropes, themes, or micro-tropes that you would like to see if I do a part 2. But otherwise, I will see you next Monday for another video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, see you then. Love you. Bye.